Hello everyone. We'll talk about social sustainability now. So, of course, social. When we talk about like a word social, so it is obviously related with the people, with the community, with the masses. So we, the people, I think, is very important factor in the sustainability in the recent times. So it involves like the participation from the people, working from the people to serve the people, serve the like masses in an efficient way while maintaining the ecological balance. So what is the actually like let's see like what are the definitions of like this social sustainability. So I have actually taken this from like a various like researchers who have conceptualized, who have given their like definitions of the like a sustainability. So the first one says the importance of maintaining social values such as equity, culture and social justice are the actually main focus areas of social sustainability. So we see like there are some values actually involved with the social sustainability over here, which are like equity, culture and social justice. So it talks about actually a lot of these social value systems which are prevalent, which should be there in the society. So the next one talks about basic values of equity and democracy become the foundation or building blocks of social sustainability. So it talks about like the again the equity is repeated over here, and it talks about a democracy. So democracy, what is the property of like democracy? Democracy is like a politico-administrative system where actually we the people, we devise our own ways of actually our governance system, like how we are going to like a governance. So it is decided by the public itself and it is implemented by the public itself. So in the democracy, it works for the people by the people, and that is how it actually is known as the democracy. So in the democracy, actually everybody has the their equal say. So everybody's actually say and opinion and things matter. And as a like a responsible actually social system, we must actually move ahead keeping everyone beside us. So that is actually a democratic system where actually society works for the equity and equality of every like a citizen. The third one says a socially sustainable system has to achieve fairness in actually distribution and opportunity. So what is the opportunity? Opportunity is like a kind of a like a thing which like can be encashed by everyone to uplift their like a life, uplift their future by the use, by the help of like a education. Like a health education is an opportunity which everyone must get, so that they can educate themselves and become actually proficient, first of all to attain the knowledge, and second to like become like a relevant and applicable in the society where we can apply our knowledge for like our livelihood, to earn our livelihood. So this is why actually education is one of the very first and foremost like opportunities where one has the potential to improve their life. The next is talks about like satisfactory establishment of like a social services. So what are the social services? This includes actually education, as we spoke of, like a health, gender equality, political accountability and participation. So with the help of actually these, one should be able to participate in the society, in the like a community, and live a like a satisfied and have a healthy life. The next one talks about from the like a McKinsey 2004. Social sustainability is a condition and a process which is a positive life enhancing condition within communities, and a process with that can achieve that condition. Communities that are socially sustainable are equitable, diverse and connected and democratic, and provide a good quality of life. So it talks about here about a good quality of life. So what is a good quality of life, and what are the traits and features through which a good quality of life can be attained? So this become very important over here, like as a human being, as a like a social creature, why are we living on this planet? Okay, and how should we live to enhance that the quality of life? So this becomes like another actually study in itself, like how we can improve the quality of life in a general like a community, in the general like a social life. The last one talks about like underlining the importance of work and needs in like a social sustainability, and also emphasize the relations between nature and society by stating that social sustainability is given if work within a society, and the related institutional arrangements satisfy an extended set of human needs and shaped in a way that nature and its reproductive capabilities are preserved over a long period of time. So it talks about like a social celebrity. It talks about like the importance of work and the importance of need in the social celebrity. What are our needs? Okay, so there is always a difference between need and requirement, and obviously like there is one actually statement you may have like heard, like Mahatma Gandhi once said, this planet has the potential to satisfy everyone's need, but it cannot satisfy even one person's greed. So there is a stark difference between need and the greed. So for any like our like a normal fulfillment of our like everyday activities and everyday like requirements, this planet has sufficient actually amount of resources and systems to do so. But in absence of like a responsible sense of like actually utilizing and harvesting these resources, this may end up in a very bad actually event, and that is what is actually happening post like in the post industrialization actually time. So what are actually social equity and livability? Let's have a look of these two. So the definition says social equity, this refers to the equal employment opportunities to the employees and equity in the sharing of the duties and responsibilities based on the employment cadre. So one should have the equal opportunity, one should have the sharing of the like a duties and responsibilities. Okay, so these are the actually features and traits which makes to the like a social equity. And what are the tasks divided into this? Like ensure law and order, provide secure feeling for the residents, ensure welfare, and make available the social services. So these are the actually tasks through which this social equity can be made available to the citizens. The next one, what is livability? So the definition says it refers to the providing of an ambience to the public which is congenial for the healthy living with all the modern luxuries. And what are the tasks assigned to this? Is livability ensures health equity, which is to make sure that the health benefits provided by the government and the private sector. So this talks about like a livability. So creating like a such like a healthy like a condition in which the human society, the citizens can live comfortably. So with this actually figure, I think this is a very a known figure to everyone. Like this cyclic actually progression between these like a three aspects of sustainability: environmental, social, and economic. So the social ones talks about good quality of life. That is very important actually aspects. As long as we have a good quality of life, we are happy, we are satisfied. I think the overall well-being and the taking care of the society will always be keep on actually improving. So one must be actually in a good state of mind, good physical state of actually the mind and body to have a good quality of life. So for whatever like amount of things which we can actually consume, which we can actually collect in the from like resources. Okay, but if we are not happy, if we are not content, if we are not having a good quality of life, everything becomes actually worthless. So if you bifurcate actually this triangle of sustainability into three different triangles which have their own actually nodes, so we will get actually this figure. So this is from like a William McDonough. Okay, so he talks about like a ecology, equity, and economy. Okay, as three different actually triangles. As a summation of these three like triangles, we get the triangle of sustainability. So let's focus this equity one on the left bottom side. So this talks about equity, ecology, society and socialism, and equity and economy. So here, if you see, in equity and ecology, are employees, customers, and stakeholders safe in making and using our products? So this is from like a, for example, a perspective of like a, this like a approach of like a cradle to cradle. So is it like a the people who are like the buyers or the consumers, are they like having like a safer experience of having like a such things? Okay, and then the last corner actually says, are employees and customers and stakeholders treating each other with respect? So is there this value system in place? Is it working? Okay, so how is it being like taken care of and all? Okay, and an equity economy part, it talks about do men and women receive the same benefits, like the equality what we spoke of, the gender equality what we spoke of, and even in the UNSDGs actually chapter. So, is there like a equality and equity among the different genders, different races, the people from the different countries, different backgrounds, and different stratas. So this is actually very important, and collectively these actually value systems, these traits actually form the triangle of social sustainability. Here, if we see, uh, this talks about how things progress from one level to another. So, at the first level, it talks about space to grow, a flexible planning, housing, infrastructure, and services that can adapt over time. Meanwhile, use of buildings and public spaces. And the next at the next level, it talks about voice and influence, the government structures to represent future residents and engage new ones in shaping local decision making and stewardship. The third level, it talks about social and cultural life. So shared spaces, collective activities, and social architecture to foster local networks and belonging and community identity. The last actually level in this actually series, it talks about amenities and social infrastructure. So amenities and support services in place on early in life of a new community, emphasis on schools, social spaces, transport, and community. So if you see there is a progression actually happening from a personal space to the a social space. So how a person is also taken care of in a social space, and how the overall community is also taken care of in a social space. So this is the beauty of actually this diagram and this actually concept over here, which talks about the arrangement of sharing spaces, the personal spaces. It talks about you know the opportunities, the space to grow, and being heard, voices should be heard. Well, the influence should be also shared between the agencies. A government structure should be in such a a place so that it respects the feedback, it is respect the opinion of the public, in an overall sense. And it is connected at two levels, like connection to the lower local and regional economy, and green building, environmental innovation, and incentives for pro environmental behavior. So there are actually two sides to this. So the one works for the regional economy, and the other one on the environmental factor, and in between we have this social structure over here. So this becomes actually very clear and evident over here, with this how this social a sustainability can be actually woven between the other two aspects of sustainability. Some indicators, let's see what are the major indicators, and they are a finer indicators in that set. So the first and the bigger one is a trust. So trust is built, well, for example, any product is there, any product which is being consumed by the society. So is there a satisfaction level? Okay, is there a respectable satisfaction level achieved by that product? Okay, because that satisfaction will build that trust. For example, we have we know certain brands on which we kind of rely generally. If we hear that this brand is this like this, then we assume that the quality is going to be at least of this standard. Okay, so that is the trust actually a brand builds over time. Okay, so in society, there should be this the quality of trust to maintain a pace of equilibrium, a pace of this coherence, so that it keeps moving at that intended at a pace. The next one talks about the management of personal data. So the how the privacy and other a personal information is being taken care of in the society gives a trust at the personal level. Next comes a dispute resolution. So the how the disputes and other situations of a conflict of interest, and other other disputes of economical in nature, or other types of a personal in nature, familiar in nature. So these things are actually taken care of. So that also being builds a trust, okay, this society runs on a system of justice. It has it follows the law and order. So this actually also builds the trust. So the value of trust comes from transparency also. How transparent our the system is. So the system of a government system of any a public service activity, what are the healthcare facilities, how it is being discharged, what are the education facilities, how it is being discharged, how it is being extended to the each and every citizen of the country. So there should be a transparent actually procedure to handle these things, so that also builds the trust. The second last one talks about identity verification system, where the society knows about its individuals, and so that it can plan in accordance, who has what kind of perspectives and ideas, and it can actually build around that. The rating systems are also very important actually features, which evaluate actually on some objective actually evaluation parameters. So if we are for example evaluating for example on one building, okay, on a rating system, where we are trying to evaluate the sustainability quotient, or social quotient, or a quotient, or a economical a quotient, or any of these. So transparent actually rating system is also very important to build the trust. Next comes empowerment. So how empowerment helps is at the user activity level, at the stakeholder collaboration level, job creation, financial independence level, personal growth level, and power to influence level. So actually all of these values, they have the ability to empower. Okay, so they empower for the benefit of the overall this thing. So if somebody wants to make a progress economically, or maybe to improve their education, or improve their or the working of their for the health. Okay, so these are actually the values where one feels actually empowered. So empowerment is very important and integral factor for social sustainability. Then comes inclusivity. Well, we as a society are actually made up of the smaller units, and the smallest unit of a society is one person. Okay, irrespective of a caste, creed, gender, or location, or color, or anything. Okay, so every human being is equal. Okay, and should be treated as equal. So this inclusivity actually involves involving each and every individual from wherever they are from, for whatever number they are into. They must be actually involved in the mainstream of the society. Then only it becomes a just and social a sustainable system, where it talks about inclusiveness. And then the last one is the social justice. So the protection of individual rights. So the every a human right, every a fundamental right of the society, of the individual, should be preserved, should be actually maintained. Then it becomes socially a just system. So in much more direct terms, if we bifurcate a social sustainability factor, so we can do them into two different groups. The first one will be on the physical base, a macro level, basic level, and physical well-being level. uh, Things like housing, food, clothing, health, and sanitation, so which are very direct and uh, materialistic actually requirements and the needs of the society. So these can be taken care of at the physical level, and then there are some softer qualities. So the softer qualities in this a social sustainability factors, they are listed as a micro level quality of life, for example equity. Okay. And then in this one there are three bifurcations: social, services, and governance. So in social there are social and cultural life, social homogeneity and cohesion, integration, diversity, and sense of place, communication and participation, social justice and equity, social amenity, social security, social capital and well-being. And in the services part, access to goods, so that one should have the access to stuff for his or her requirement. Okay, service and employment, education, training, equitable income. And then the last one, the government has actually factors of democracy, engaged governments, and system of citizen engagement. So the how social and cultural life of a society can be actually designed for a progressive actually movement in the forward direction. Okay, how the social homogeneity and cohesion can be moved, and how the participation can be increased, how the cultural exchange, how the communication exchange can be actually enhanced in the society, and how people from the diverse backgrounds can be integrated at the same platform. So this is also one of the very important actually factors for a social sustainability. And then comes a community and participation. So the how well the every quarter of the community is able to participate in the developmental activities. So what are their saying, what are their concerns, So these should be addressed in any like a socially sustainable actually society. Then there are like a justice and equity, which we have discussed earlier. Then there is like a social amenities, for example, like a public like a services, public facilities, which we actually come across whenever we visit like outside our homes. So in the urban spaces, in the like a busy like districts of the like a city, busy like areas, zones of the city. Okay, we actually require a lot of like public facilities which are common for like everybody. So like transportation is there. Okay, sanitation is there, and traffic management is there. There are other like a management, other like a governance related like some factors which are there. So they actually fall under like this social amenity actually factors. Social security, where actually the well-being of like every individual, the right to food, the right to education, the right to health are actually taken care of. So these are like a collectively grouped in one like a social security, where like someone's like a economical well-being, economical actually sustenance, okay, is taken care of. Even if he or she is not earning, he must actually receive like some amount of food for the survival. One must never die actually because of the hunger. So this actually values are actually derived from like a ancient like our social systems, which have found actually relevance in our even today's like factors which are talking about like a sustainable development, because this is one of the social UN and UNSDGs point from where we have actually derived this thing. Then there is this service and employment. Then there is this education, training, equitable income. So the equitable income actually talks about like there should be some parity in the society for like a economic well-being. So one must actually be able to receive some monetary benefits for their like a sustenance. So it is very important for the society uh, to maintain that pay parity and this an equitable income in the society. Democracy we have discussed, and then there is a engaged governance. So the engaged governance actually talks about like the participatory government, where the involvement of people is there, so that everybody participates, everybody actually postulates what do they need and how this is going to be like a facilitated. So this is actually about like a engaged governance. And then there is a system for like a citizen engagement, which is it has a lot to do with the previous one, where there is like a concerns of like a participation and a democratic actually systems. So uh, in this one, how these things have evolved, like we know like a environmental impact assessment system is there. Lately this social impact assessment system was also evolved, also was formulated, because as far as environmental concerns are there, almost everybody is aware of those environmental concerns. But are we aware of our like a social concerns also? Are we aware of our like a communities also? How community is developing, how community is evolving, how community is progressing? So there are some checks and methods are designed to evaluate actually that. So this social impact assessment SIA came into the like a decade of like 1970s. And there are I would like to emphasize on the definitions and some main features of it. Is like a systematic, iterative, uh, exact form of assessment that seeks help individuals, groups, organization, and communities understand possible social and cultural or economic impacts of change, or better still impacts of proposed change. So like if there is a change, a change is like the constant. So how with the progression of change the society or the individual or the households are able to cope up? So that is one of the actually biggest points of like a assessment in SIA. The main features, it focuses on like a social dimension. It is speculative in nature, does not provide precise, accurate, and repeatable results, because it is quite subjective in nature. So the results are actually a little bit subjective in the output also. The selection of targets and threshold relies on system values and political objectives rather than scientific criteria. The last one, primary, secondary, and cumulative and dead weight effects are difficult to calculate and measure. Well, there are some shortcomings also, but the best part, at least some these kind of tools have started like a so long back. Like this is almost like 50 years ago. Like the society started talking about like SIA. The examples of main limitations like quality and availability of data at the local level, well, it is sometimes very difficult to gather like such subjective data. And social engineering risk, well, we may be aware of like at the political arena, even if when we are talking about like social equity and cohesion, but there are some agencies sometimes who encash actually these differences in the society for their own advantages. So there is a risk also involved of like a social engineering in this like a kind of like a assessment. And well, there is one actually iceberg model. Okay, so in iceberg model, in the social of the like a social sustainability, there are some traits which are commonly visible and which are very like evident, which are very direct and can be seen and felt. So those are like some examples like wages of the like a labor, like how our like a man force is being paid. Okay, is there any difference between men and women? Is there a difference between from like a place to place? If there is a difference between government to private? So these are actually contrasting points, contrasting actually scenarios and settings where this should be kind of like put together in an like, equalized format. So these are the like and the next one is like production of markets in capitalistic forms. So how the markets can be created for the like such so these are the actually such some traits, some factors which are directly like visible and are available for like our experience. But there are some actually traits which are like a hidden, which cannot be seen directly but can be felt in an like a subjective like a atmosphere. So those are you can read from here like how like the things actually happen when there is someone like who is like unpaid, someone who is in if there is something like happening not for the market. Okay, somewhere something happening in the like a barter, somewhere is happening in the like a gift. Okay, something like is happening like in an illegal way, someone happening with the like a self production. So how things actually work in a, like a society in like a such things like for example the last one you see is about like a retirement. So how actually people and the individuals and the families they actually take care of stuff, how the society is taking care of them once they are like retired. So this once the active working life is over, how they are going to like remain actually integrated to the society, or are they going to fall out of on the fringe. Okay, so these are the actually inherent questions related with the social sustainability, where we must integrate actually everyone from like every corner for like a cohesive and equalized actually growth. So at there in the last I would like to mention over here, there is a this discussion on the design for empathy in our like a design courses. We discuss for like a design for empathy. So what is empathy? So empathy is like a an experience where we feel the pain, when we feel the like the experiences through which the person who is in front of us is going through. If we can, if somehow we are able to feel that pain, that experience is called like empathy. So whenever we design something, whenever we manufacture something, okay, we are doing it for our own sake, so that we are looking for some commercial benefit out of it. But once we actually develop a feeling, develop a methodology for designing through empathy, like what is being actually needed for that person, if we supply only that part, so of course we can make our like a commercial benefits. But we can first of all, first and foremost, we can serve that person completely, as well as we can take care of the ecology also. Because if we empathize with the ecology, if we empathize with the society, if we empathize with the environment, we can design and like a cohesive a product, okay, or a system which will serve to all of these aspects actually at the same time. So I think that is what is needed actually in the today's time, so that we can develop like such a responsible actually consumerism, responsible actually behaviors, and responsible actually lifestyles. Thank you very much.